Hello, Patreon. Welcome back to Geekvolution After Dark. I'm Captain Logan.
I'm Eric.
And for the next hour or so, Eric and I are going to talk about all kinds of things for you that we may or may not would usually talk about on the channel. Eric, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing all right.
It's been a few days since I've really seen Eric much. We went out to a movie on Thursday. We saw Transformers,
We
the
walked
movie.
around on Friday or Saturday night.
That's true. I guess we did. But we haven't hung out a ton the last few days.
Yeah.
But we went out and saw the '86 Transformers movie
Yep.
on the big screen, which was a lot of fun.
Yep.
And that's the Transformers I know. I've now seen that movie probably 4 or 5 times.
Yep.
That's what I know about Transformers, folks. And I know it even better than I did before. But when we found out, and I wanted to say thanks real quick to Dave Crabtree because he told us about this in the first place, and then we had forgotten about it, and the night before, luckily, it was a Captain Logan show.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, oh, by the way, that show's tomorrow night, are you guys going? And I was like, we almost went to House with a Clock in the Walls, and then we realized that was happening, so we went to that instead. So we might see House with a Clock in its walls at some point, but...
This week, Venom.
This week is Venom, yeah. Which, who knows, man. Don't have high hopes for that.
No.
I kind of think that's going to be a disaster. I don't want it to be. I mean, I'm rooting for it. But I also... It also sounds like if it was a really good movie, it's not now.
I was talking to my friend who
with the
Venom
RPG-13 thing. Yeah.
And, well, to be fair about the R thing, they never said it was R. An outlet reported it was R, but there was never an official statement.
Yeah, but more and more it's sounding like a lot of what's ripped out of it is so that it's not R.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe that will turn out not to be the case. I don't know.
But I was talking to my friend who loves Venom, and I was like, yeah, I have a lot of high hopes for it. He's like, well, I have higher hopes for it than I did for Dark Tower. I was like, yeah, but I had no hopes for Dark Tower, and it still disappointed me.
Wouldn't it be hilarious if Venom had all the same problem as Dark Tower did, though? If that
it was a
the
90s
problem.
children's film?
Yeah. That was just sitting in a
like
drawer for 30
Warriors
years.
of Virtue?
Yeah. That would be hilarious.
Yep, yep.
We know from the trailers that that's not the case.
I mean, do we?
But that would be amazing.
I didn't know from the trailers of Dark Tower that it was a 90s children's film.
No, but I'm just saying
There's
from
no
the trailers of Venom, there's no way it's a 90s like kids film. I don't know if I buy that like it's pushing the envelopes for what PG-13 is, but Dark Tower didn't have the turn the wind joke.
No.
I mean, it's not going to be that.
I don't.
Dark Tower didn't have anything as cool and violent and edgy as giant blade arms. Like, that's a thing that you'd have in 90s comics that the movies would be horrified to even try to do.
I don't know how I feel about the R-rated thing. Like obviously the R-rated movie would be cool, but at the same time, as I was reading the article, I was like, yeah, but all the 90s comics aren't R. Like, the kids read
Here's the
those.
thing. I don't need it to be R. My thing is...
It seems like they wanted to make one.
If the vision got compromised...
Yeah.
Then we're going to get a stripped-down movie. That's all I'm concerned about.
Yeah.
You know, it sounds like Suicide Squad all over again.
Yeah.
The problem with Suicide Squad isn't that it's PG-13.
It is a mistake that it's PG-13.
Yeah, sure. In the same way that the problem with Spawn wasn't that it was PG-13. But it should have been.
We will see. Just a couple more days.
Okay, in some ways that was the problem with Spawn.
Yeah, there was a lot. Well, it's just when you start from that place, you're already compromising yourself. Because, like, Spawn, I think, was always intended to be PG-13, and somehow that movie was still too violent, they cut it down.
But also, in being PG-13 in the first place, it was immediately... This is where I started to second-guess myself. It was immediately more of a kind of formulaic superhero thing. And, we put a dog in it, that kind of thing.
It's embarrassing, right?
It is. It's really embarrassing.
Because that's the joke. It's like, well, we'll make it mainstream. We'll put a dog in it, we'll put a kid in it.
Yeah.
It's literally that
If
movie.
I had it to go back to, and people keep asking me to either repost my Spawn Rewind, which I don't want to do because it's not good, because I don't agree with anything I said, with a lot of the things I said in that, after I've actually consumed Spawn material and then reviewed it in Spawn Year. But also, we already have it in Spawn Year, and that review I'm happy with.
Yeah, yeah.
But, so, I mean, like, whenever people are like, well, put that back up, because they want it complete, and they're like, put it back up, and I'm like, yeah, but, like...
I'm not happy with the work.
And I did it again, and it's better. Like, if I hadn't done it again, I put it up, but, like, I had to take it down at one point because of copyright stuff.
Yeah.
What I was going to say is, if I had it to do over again, I would call it Hanna-Barbera Spawn.
Sure. Sure.
The only thing that would make it more Hanna-Barbera is if the dog fucking talked.
And the series just kept looping.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And if at some point Spawn jumped up in the air and moved his legs like this in midair before he moved anywhere. But anyway, let's go ahead.
Clown doesn't do that.
Yeah, and he could get away with it.
Yeah.
You know, because
Yeah.
he's got those hell powers. I mean, Spawn could get away with it
Because he also has hell powers.
would he? Wanda! Anyway, let's go ahead and get into our topics for today. Eric, I'm going to put 1 hour on the clock.
All right.
I mentioned last time that I have a controversial topic that I'm uncomfortable with talking about, but that I want to bring up here that I did not get a chance to talk about last time.
I'm excited.
I'm going to do that as my second topic today. So unless Eric does a topic that is 48 minutes long, we will see that topic today. Eric, let's go ahead and get started. 1 hour on the clock.
Today we're talking about fetal alcohol syndrome. I don't know if that's controversial. It's just dark.
Yeah, it's a controversial. Yay or nay on that. All right, here we go. Eric, what would you like to talk about first today? Sir, I almost said about Capitan, but that would be me.
I just went to a concert. I went to a Parliament concert.
Yeah.
Which is it's not the best Roman show I've ever seen. It's not the best like set lineup, and there was just something off. I don't know. It wasn't bad. It wasn't the best I've ever seen them. But there was this band that opened for
I had
them.
a chance to go. Eric told me about it at the last minute, and like I had other things I was doing and stuff. I almost dropped everything and went. But then, like, I went back and looked at their stuff because I knew that was a band you were a big fan of, but I couldn't remember which one it was.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at some of their stuff. It's just not my thing.
Sure.
I just couldn't get excited about it.
Sure. Now it was weird. Like I know that they've been recording the new album, but it was almost like they forgot how to play their music. Not play, but like I don't know. Some of the singing was real off. It was weird.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't know. It was not the best. It was not the best show, and it seemed kind of short. Their actual section, but there was a band that opened for them. Also, there was a hoodie that I really wanted. I really wanted this hoodie because I love the album art for Act 2 where Light's holding the girl Emily, and they had it on a hoodie. Now I know exactly how it's made. You bought a hoodie and you pressed on the picture. $100. And it said jacket. I was like, is there a jacket here? There was no jacket. It was a fucking hoodie.
$100 hoodie. That's
Yeah.
pretty dope.
T-shirt's $20. Hoodie, $100. I meant to buy a t-shirt, I forgot. Anyways, but the band that opened, because there were 3 bands, second one was fine. I wouldn't even call it a band. It was like techno. Just like a dude, like, doing, like, music. I don't know. It was fine. They had the big, like, towers.
That's what they do at chiptune shows.
Yeah?
Yeah, because I've got a couple friends that are into Aaron Hickman into chiptunes, and at video game / music conventions, that's the shows they do. They take up a laptop, and they hook it in, and they press play, and they just dance around the stage. Like that's what they do.
Well, I would have liked it more if it was some kind of video game music. Like it was just like rave music. It was just like dicks, 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 dicks. That's what rave sounds like. I don't know if you know that. Rave music sounds like just dicks, 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 dicks.
But that's the word, as if it's a nonsense syllable.
Well, it started as
that's the new la 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 la.
Well, because it started as like because that's what rave sounds like.
Right.
And then my friends started doing like dicks, 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 because that's what rave sound like. Anyways, I don't know.
Okay. All right.
But the band that opened.
Boy, I wish I'd missed this.
The band that opened was called Bit Brigade, and they did one of the coolest fucking things I've ever seen. They had someone there speed run through Mega Man 2 and score it. They played the music for every stage. It was amazing. Because at first we were like, are they just playing like a speed run? Nah, playing it live. Playing the game, there's a point where I was so fucking pissed off. Someone was playing it live, and they were playing the.
Okay, I actually legitimately do wish I had missed the show now. That would have been worth.
They were playing. They played every single.
My ticket would have been free, but it would have. But like, it would have been worth going.
They played every single stage music.
My feelings are hurt now.
And they played the entire game. They played through all the Rock Masters and Wise Castle, and they scored the whole thing. And there was a point where I got pissed. I was pissed the whole time because fuck you, you shouldn't be that good.
Yeah.
Because it was like maybe like 20, 30 minutes. Like
and
they played the entire game.
That is fucking nerdy.
It's one of the most like famously like really hard. Like Mega Man 2 is fucking hard. There's a point The point in
Well, like
Wily's
scoring
Castle,
that's kind of fun and a little bit challenging too, because you gotta keep looping, and then like you won't know exactly when he finishes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, and me and my friend that I went with, we were like, what happens if he dies? It's not really a question, because this guy was so fucking good. He was so good. There's a point where I got pissed because he's in Wily's Castle. He goes down the ladder, and there's just an extra life there. He jumps over it. Doesn't need that.
Let's slow him down. He'd lose 2 seconds over
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I was like, Jesus Christ. I know you don't play Mega Man a lot, but like one of the hardest things in Mega Man for me is fucking ladders.
The only reason I don't play a lot of Mega Man is I'm not good at it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the only reason I've done it. Like, if I'd grown up with it, I feel like these are harder games than Sonic, but I feel like there are a lot of people where Sonic and Mega Man are kind of a divide. Like, you either got really good at Sonic or you got really good at Mega Man. Although I'm probably saying this and like people are thinking, no, I'm really, really good at both. You know what I mean? Like there's probably some of that too. But you know, in Mario's whatever. But like, because like everybody played Mario if they had Nintendo, but if you didn't, but I guess Mega Man was also Nintendo, so whatever. But anyway, I'm just saying that like Sonic is a thing that looks really impressive if you play well. Mega Man is really impressive if you play well.
Yeah.
And maybe if I had been playing it since I was 7, I'd be okay at it. But I didn't pick up and try to play Mega Man until I was in my 20s, and I'm just not good at it. Somehow I missed the boat on that.
I hate the ladders in Mega Man, because you get hit, you fall, and like if you spam the button, sometimes you can catch yourself. A lot of times you don't. He just went up the ladders. He just fucking went up all the ladders. It was obnoxious. He would go into like the screen, right, and he'd just shoot, and then an enemy would appear and get hit. Like that's how he just knows where everything is. It was insane.
He's got it napped in his head.
Yeah,
man,
it was really cool.
I wish I had missed that.
It was really cool.
That sounds really cool.
Yeah,
I'm jealous, man. That's really cool.
I'd never seen anything like that before, and I want to see them in other shows because well,
that's one of the reasons I think I don't quite appreciate the Proto Man is just I'm not a Mega Man fan.
But there's
I also don't understand their cover album at all, but we can talk about that.
They did. So there was merch for Bit Brigade, and they had Mega Man. They also had Castlevania. I want to fucking see that because Castlevania is also super hard.
Yeah.
I want to see them do Castlevania. I almost bought that shirt.
Plus, that soundtrack is bossa nova.
It's great.
Like, obviously, I love Mega Man, but that would be a whole other ball game. You know.
I didn't buy a shirt. Well, one, I just kind of forgot to buy a shirt, but I was thinking about buying a Castlevania one just so I had a Castlevania shirt. But I was like, well, it doesn't say Castlevania. It says Bit Brigade. But it was still the cover of Castlevania. But yeah, I don't know. They were awesome.
I may have to look them up. So what was the music like?
It was just like it was just like hard rock / like metal. You know, it was just them.
It was just standard
Yeah.
instruments.
It was just standard. There was no singing or anything. Just.
I get that. I was just wondering if it was standard.
It was guitar, maybe keyboard.
If they had any horns or anything.
Yeah.
That's cool.
No horns or anything. Just classic, rock band setup kind of thing.
Yeah.
No, it was awesome. I'd never seen anything like that. I've been to a couple Pro Man shows where they have different geeky bands. Like I've seen people do video game music or something like that. And it's not like their music was like amazing. Like I've heard Mega Man music from a couple of different bands at this point.
Yeah.
And like it's always good, but and their music was good. But to do it in time with the
video game, yeah.
That was really fucking cool.
I mean, one of the coolest things I ever saw. This is a different thing, but one of the live scoring thing is neat, no matter what it is. One of the coolest things I ever saw was Metropolis with an orchestra. And I would love to see more of that kind of thing, like silent film score with an orchestra.
Like these or that, you can exactly time it. Like you know exactly with a video game. Like if he moves a little bit faster, a little bit slower than he usually moves.
Well, yeah, but the thing
I guess it is looping music.
It's looping music. So like, you just play at a standard tempo. You're not dealing with. Your tempo is not in time with what the guy playing the game is.
That's true.
The only thing you have to time out is how the levels end, and then starting the next level.
What was funny is almost every boss they get to.
Now, what would be amazing is if they played, if somebody was also playing sound effects. So like that would be amazing.
And they must have done something with the game because you could hear the sound effects, but like obviously not the music from the game. So they must have just pitched something up and whatever. But like they get to the boss, and then it kind of it didn't suck, but like it kind of sucked.
There's a way to turn the music off and just have sound effects.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Like especially if they Like,
I don't think somebody was doing sound effects, but
well, what I was going to ask you is, could you tell what they were playing it on? Like, was it on an NES or was it something else? Because if they played it on one of the compilations, that might just be.
I'm not sure. I couldn't see the guy playing it. He was kind of off to the side. It was just projected onto a projector.
And and you couldn't see the menu before it started.
I don't know if I was paying attention.
Okay.
Because like they all get up there, and then I was like, oh, they're doing Mega Man.
Yeah.
But
sorry, I'm really interested in things like that aren't that interesting.
But they when they get to the boss, because the boss room has slightly different music than the stage, obviously. You get to hear like 4 chords maybe, and then like the boss will be dead. Like that's just how fucking good he is. So it's just like they just started, and then he's dead. It was really funny.
If I went to a show and somebody did that with like Sonic 2 or something, I would just lose my fucking mind.
I don't know if I don't because they had Mega Man and Castlevania. Those are the 2 I paid attention to. They had 1 or 2. They had a Metroid one. I don't think they had a Sonic
really cool.
one. Yeah, Metroid would also be really cool to see like that. No, I'm kind of interested in seeing them at other places if they. I don't know if I would go to a show just for them, but
it depends on what they were doing.
Yeah. But no, it was really
I could see that working for a whole show.
Yeah.
If you had like different speedrunners.
Mm-hmm. You do a couple different games,
and they might do other things that aren't obviously speedruns.
Mm-hmm.
They might play other games and stuff.
Mm-hmm. But no, it was really cool.
That's really neat.
Yep.
Eric, I didn't tell you about this on Saturday. I went to Renfest.
Oh, cool.
And took the kids, and that was really fun. There's a thing that's been happening at Renaissance festivals lately, at least the one around here. I assume that this happens with a lot of them now. That I don't know how I feel about, and I was curious as to your take on it. There's a lot more like standard like comic convention stuff at Ren fairs these days.
Are there?
Yeah.
It's been a couple of years since I've been.
More and more of this is happening, and I don't mean that there's just like booths set up that are at like a convention, but it's Renaissance stuff, but it's got comic book things on it,
like Conan. Or like
superheroes,
Batman.
like just standard superhero
I
stuff.
don't
Like we're starting to see like the problem is that they're selling well. I talked to a guy that sells some of this stuff where he's got like vests and corsets, and he said he had like 150 flavors of comic book. He had a Red Lanterns one there.
Wow.
Yeah, and
I guess I
there
kind
was
of
a
understand
Robin
what's
one,
clothes.
and yeah,
kind of. I don't love that, but I kind of.
I don't know how I feel about it.
I don't. My knee-jerk reaction is I don't like
it's
that.
just blending together is so hard now.
Yeah.
Like, when I first started going to Renaissance festivals, and, like, that's not... You know me, I'm not a big fantasy guy, but that's a period in time I'm very interested in. I studied Elizabeth I in college, and that made me a lot more interested in that period. I probably talked about this before, but I did a research project called the Elizabethan Fandom, where I was talking about things like Renaissance festivals and how there's a fandom around Tudor England as much as there is anything. And that made me more interested in Renaissance festivals. At the time, this was circa 08, 09. If you showed up at a Renaissance festival in a Star Trek costume, outfit, you'd practically get beaten up. Like, people would like try to throw you out. Now, they've the same booth that I was, or the same shop that I was telling you about. Booth, it's not a convention. The same shop I was telling you about had Star Trek stuff. It's got. It's got, again, vests and corsets and things that look like Starfleet uniforms. And when you walk in, they've got, like, these guys are clearly big Star Trek fans. They have a bunch of, just up for display to show people, a bunch of autographs and pictures of Star Trek characters. Like, walking into the thing.
I don't like that.
Like they had...
Well, that might be the place to finally get the Armand jacket.
No, because it's not, like, standard... Like it's all still Renaissance.
I see.
They weren't selling Starfleet uniforms, but it's just Renaissance stuff. But then they had they had 2 or 3 pictures of J.G. Hertzler and other folks, and I was just like, this is a weird kind of like mix of things.
I don't have a problem with doing, like, if they're doing Game of Thrones stuff or whatever, like, that's fine. That's that period. Like I get this.
Well, the entrance into that store is a TARDIS.
Ooh, I don't like that.
Sitting there in the middle of the Renaissance Festival, and I guess they think they can get away with it because it's like
time
anachronistic.
traveler, yeah.
You know, where it's like it's time travel, so you can do that with Doctor Who in a way you can't with other things because he would
I
go
guess
back
you
to that
can kind of
period.
do it with Star Trek, holodeck, or whatever, but
Or time travel.
yeah, I mean, I guess all
Sort of.
shippers will time travel at some point.
But
I don't
this
like
was the argument that we used to call them, I mean, not me, but people at Ren Fairs used to call them Star Trek trolls. They'd be like, because they'd show up and they'd be like, oh, I'm from the future, ha ha ha, and they'd be like, no, that's stupid, get out. And now it's kind of normal. It's kind of okay. Like we saw
that.
We saw a guy dressed up as Spider-Man wearing Renaissance stuff.
Was he even like 1402 Spider-Man?
No, it was just a Spider-Man costume with like, I don't even know what it was, with like a couple of like feather things on him and stuff.
God, I hate the fucking generification of fucking everything.
That's my thing. Is it kind of generic?
There's
everything.
what and
What are we celebrating at this point?
and like a lot of
And the thing is,
a lot of conventions have fallen prey to this too.
But I don't think that's
specialized.
a problem there. That's my thing. Is that comic conventions are already the catch-all now. Like
I don't mean just comic conventions. I mean specialized conventions are becoming more and more just comic conventions.
we used to have Star Trek conventions. Now most of them are just straight up sci-fi conventions. Now that's been going on for quite a while. But when you have like the really big comic cons, and you and I have talked about this, and I don't think we fully agree.
Mm-hmm.
But if hear me out, if by and large the comic convention has just become a fan convention, mostly so we could fund it because of all the industry people that get the you know actors and people that get your average Joe off the street to come spend money, and that's how we fund these things now. If those have become the catch-all for everything, and you can do Renaissance at all there, let's not do that to festivals. Let's not do that to specialized.
And you're gonna get Renaissance because fucking Game of Thrones right now.
Yeah.
At the very least.
But I'm not going to complain to see Renaissance at a comic convention,
No.
but it's weird to see comic convention at a Ren Fair.
Yeah, no, I don't like that. My knee-jerk reaction, I do not like that.
And you know what I think? Because I'm sitting here trying to figure out why I don't like it. Because I try to be open-minded about things, and people should be able to do whatever they want to some degree. But, like, I think the deal is we're trying to some degree, it's tongue-in-cheek, of course, we're trying to simulate something. You go there, and it's supposed to feel like you're in the Renaissance. When you go to a comic convention, it's just there's no pretend, there's no play there except for cosplay. So you'll have some people that will be in character, but they know they're at a comic convention, and that's part of the fun, right? But when you're at a Ren Fair, it's backwards. It's the people running the fair that are doing the pretending, and you can pretend if you want to, but you can also just be a kind of non-participating patron. I think that's what bothers me about it.
I think that's fair.
It's a simulation to some degree.
I want to be able to go somewhere and not have fucking superheroes there. Look, I love superheroes, but like, if I go to a
it's
Ren
the backbone of the
Fest,
channel, but
yeah, if I go to a Ren Fest, I want it to be like fantasy.
and I don't know if this is
And medieval.
and this has been going on for a long time now. I'm just bringing it up now because I just went there and I thought of it. They've been there the last at least couple of years I've been there.
I don't like it.
But like, this just occurred to me, so I'll say it because it's kind of funny. This is what I do for a living. Like 40, 50, 60 hours a week, I'm inundated with superhero stuff. It is nice to get away from it occasionally and go. Like, what I like about Ren Fairs is I get to go experience somebody else's fandom. I get to learn a little bit. It's not my thing. And it's kind of fun to immerse myself in some of the world for a little bit.
Did they have, or did you go to my favorite Ren Fest thing?
I don't know what your favorite Ren Fest
People
is.
Chess. Did they have people?
Oh, I
chess?
forgot you do like people. I didn't see
love
it.
People Chess.
They may have that, but I didn't see it.
The most bullshit thing about People Chess, they do half a game, and they're like, "Come back in 2 hours." I'm like, "Fuck you." Just give me a whole goddamn game. I don't have to get a seat. I got a good seat. I love People Chess. Well, it's because it's live sword fighting. That's really what I like about it, is I get to see live sword fighting.
Yeah, I mean, they have that quite a bit too outside of that, and I didn't see it this year, but I was probably just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Usually they'll have like a real big guy who's got a broadsword, and you can like pay $1 and fight the guy with a big broadsword.
That's cool.
That's a lot of. I've done that.
I don't get jazzed about jousting. I feel like that's the thing I should like more
I
than
don't either.
I just
Like,
something about jousting. It's like it's a sport, and I get bored.
I don't have that. It's forgive me, wrestling fans, because I know we have a lot of wrestling fans in the audience, and like Danny might be watching this, but it's the wrestling thing for me, the jousting. In fact, Sarah and the kids watched it. I was like, we got there and the lines were too long and I needed to eat lunch. My family had all eaten, but I hadn't. And so it was like 2 o'clock and I was starving. So while they went and watched jousting, I stood for half an hour in a line to get a chicken sandwich. But anyway,
That's unfortunate.
I saw the tail end of the joust, but I've been there probably 5 or 6 times. I've seen jousting every year. Like it's the same every time. But what?
Sorry.
Real quick, let me finish this. So my thing with jousting is a lot of it is just smack talk. A lot of it is just like, yay, black knight, boo, white knight. Like I don't have a dog in this fight.
Down. Red knight's going down.
I'll just watch it. You know, I don't really care about the smack talk part. So like it's fun to see those guys on horses and stuff, and all the costumes look great and everything. But like I would almost enjoy more like the what's it called? The thing that they do at I can't think of the name. What is that? What is that medieval times, the restaurant?
There's gonna be a question I was gonna ask you if you've ever been there.
I've never gotten to go. Yeah,
I've been twice. It's great.
It would be cooler to get to see that because I know there's a lot more like tricks and things they do.
Well, and they'll joust and somebody will fall down. Then the guy will get off the horse. Then they'll sword fight, which is all I want in my life.
Yeah.
No, I've been twice. It's great. The first time I went, it changed the second time. The first time I went, off to the side, they had a place you could walk through, like, before they opened the doors. It was like this museum of just, like, fucking torture devices and shit. It was great.
Well, they have that at the Renaissance Festival.
Oh, do they? Cool.
Yeah, in fact, Jason wanted to see it. I paid to take him through it. It's like, oh, damn, this is kind of gruesome. But it's
some of them were really fucked up. Some of them were, like
really
specifically, like, genital torture, and, like, that's
Oh, I didn't see any of that. They didn't show us
There
any
was
of
some
that.
of that at the one in Orlando.
No, they had like, is this how they do it there? They would have like the torture devices set up behind bars, like you're going through a dungeon, and then they'd have like a dummy, like a doll that they were doing the torture to, and some of them were animatronic.
Oh, that's cool.
And some of them weren't, but they'd have like the spinner rack thing where they have like the guy tied on it like this, and he's going over fire, like around and around.
That's cool.
And yeah, sure, it's great. Real wholesome entertainment.
And it was probably real fire. You know what a big fan I am of real fire.
I mean, that was not real fire.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Because they totally torched this marionette they made. But and then they had like a guy with a. I didn't expect to bring this up. They had a guy in a rat cage. They put like the rat cage over his head, like in 1984, like that whole thing.
That's cool.
They weren't real rats or anything, but yeah. And Jason would be like, "Dad, what is this torture device?" I'm like, "Read the blurb, it'll tell you."
Removes his intestines.
Cool. I'm getting an education.
This sucks.
And everyone in the comments, your line is, "So what's your problem with your kids liking Deadpool?" Anyway, we'll have to talk about the PG-13 Deadpool thing on the omnibus.
Yeah. This will segue nicely. I have written down fight scenes, particularly sword fights, ruined.
That is a good segue.
I think we have completely lost the art of fight scenes. I haven't...
Completely?
I mean, there's John Wick. But, like, for the most part...
You mean they're all shot the same, or they look too choreographed, or...
They don't look fucking choreographed at all.
Oh.
It's all fucking quick cuts. It's like...
See, here's the thing. That was a huge problem in the early 2000s. I think we've gotten better about it.
I've gotten away from the shaky
I can at least tell what the fuck is going on now.
That's true, but it's not impressive. Like, you see, like, fucking, like I have this in Civil War, like, you see, like, Scarlet Witch, you see, like, her punch, and then we fucking cut. And you see her, like, flip, and then we fucking cut. Put people on screen doing things. It's amazing when people, like, and sword fights are the worst, because you get, like, ching-ching, cut. Ching-ching, cut. We used to just, like, put a camera there, and, like,
my standards were lowered by shaky cam.
I mean, that's
because
fair.
I couldn't even tell what was happening at all, so now I can at least get a sense
it's better
of
than
the
it was,
action.
but it's not good.
Yeah, if what you're saying is a problem, I am convinced that it's in the cinematography before it's in the choreography. Because
No, I think you're right.
do you think, because when you watch behind the scenes on this, all the you'll hear about, like, I trained to do this scene for 9 months, and then you'll see them do everything on the set or in front of a green screen or practicing, and then when you get to the screen, maybe they don't shoot all of it.
It seems so much less impressive, and it feels like the actors cannot, like, we used to have higher standards for choreography with actors. I'm not saying that that's the case. That's what it feels like when I'm watching a movie. Was like, oh, well, they couldn't do this. We had to cut around it.
And then what's even the point of like a stuntman if you're not going to show the blows in?
There was a day where Sarah was watching Three Musketeers with the kids, and I was like, oh my god, there's like three sword fights going on at the same time. This is not a thing
I've noticed the way Eric's.
Yeah. But like there was like three. There's a scene in the beginning of that movie. There was like 3 sword fights going on. There's like a sword fight up on the hill, and a sword fight here and here, and like they're all fighting. They're all sword fighting. They're all doing choreography, and I'm seeing it. I'm seeing all of it. It's amazing, and I don't get that anymore. It fucking sucks.
You feel like we use the camera as a crutch because if you're on stage, you have to fucking show it.
Yeah, and I mean. Like, it wasn't great in the 90s when, like, everyone started watching, like, martial arts films, like, everything was a fucking martial arts movie. Like, that wasn't great. Just unnecessary. Like, Buffy knows Kung Fu for some reason. Like, I get that, like, because sometimes it is silly. Sometimes you have people where you're like, well, you should be, like, a brawler, but you're doing, like, choreographed
it's
fights.
A dance,
and so, like, obviously, this, whatever, but... Like it shouldn't always be the same thing. I don't want it all to be the same thing. I never want everything to be the same thing, but specifically, I guess, in superhero movies, it feels real lazy. It feels like we couldn't put in the effort to, like... And I know that's not true entirely.
Yeah.
I've seen behind-the-scenes footage where it's like, oh, they're doing a thing. But, like... Boy, like... I am rarely invested in fight scenes the way that I am when I go back to older films where, like, I get to see.
I mean, you can't fully
the
complain about it with
impressiveness.
Deadpool 2 because that is one of the John Wick guys.
No, it is, and I think that movie looks much better than the first one action-wise. That's one of the things I said in our review was, like, you can tell that someone that knows how to shoot action, and that guy's was a stuntman.
Yeah, what's really interesting about those two directors compared to each other is they are exact opposites in where they come from, because one is a special effects guy and one is a practical effects guy, and the first guy wanted to render everything in the camera before they even shot anything. I don't know if you know that.
I didn't know
he
that.
wanted to do a 100% previs, and they're like, well, that's impractical, we're not doing that. And the second movie, he wanted to do everything in front of the camera he possibly could. Really interesting. This is an aside, but I think that's fascinating.
I think the action Deadpool 2 is much better. I think it's way better choreographed, and I think it looks better. It makes sense because one of the two guys directed John Wick, which is one of the best directed action movies in the past decade.
I agree with that, but at the same time, you do have to be impressed with all the stuff in Deadpool 1 that is a visual effects shot that you never know.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm not talking on Deadpool
No,
1.
I get that. I'm just saying, that's the one thing I gotta give the action in that movie is there's too much that's not real that I could never have told you wasn't real. And
Sure.
I'm impressed with that, but I'm not as thrilled with the action as I am too, certainly.
But yeah, I think we fucking ruined action scenes, and I don't know if we'll ever recover.
And the John Wick guys do need to, like he did, go on and make other movies. I mean, I think they need to get their tendrils in some other places to show more people how it's done.
Yeah. No,
I don't mean everything needs to look like John Wick. I just mean I want them to inspire and influence people.
Yeah. I don't know. It just fight scenes fucking suck. I mean, it's all the worse after watching Iron Fist, where it's like, oh, we got like a choreographer and choreographed stuff, and I was like, yeah, and like, it looks better. Doesn't look good. It looks like they're intentionally fighting.
It also
this time.
doesn't matter with Iron Fist if it is great because I'm not invested in any of the characters.
It's not cool. It's not kung fu shit.
Yeah,
it should look like kung fu. I know. Like when I watch kung fu movies, I see them do things physically where I'm just like, that's insane. Like because it's all practical. Like I don't know if you've seen Rumble in the Bronx. Like Jackie Chan movies are fucking nuts. The things that man does physically is insane.
Well, that movie especially is really violent. Like I've only seen that movie once, and it was in the theater. We're talking '99. I will never forget the beer bottle scene, man. Like,
but like if you ever watch even like
chill
Jackie
to my
Chan's
bones.
more like comedy things, like the things that guy would do, because they would shoot things and then build a movie around it. Like, it is amazing that Jackie Chan isn't dead. The things that he put himself through.
Yeah, of course.
It's insane.
Maybe he should have gone the way of Steve Irwin.
And it looks amazing.
I mean, I'm glad he did.
I can't tell you the last time I watched...
Rest in peace, Steve Irwin, but I mean, he will do crazy shit.
Yeah, and he'll still do it. I can't tell you the last time I watched a movie and like saw an action scene that I really was like, that's amazing.
We also should be impressed that Tom Cruise is not dead.
Or at least an American action. Well, he's on his way. Yeah, I don't know. I miss seeing action scenes and be like, that's fucking awesome. I haven't had that in a long time outside like John Wick. I'm not saying I don't ever have that, but especially superhero movies. I cannot tell you the last time I saw a fight scene in a superhero movie where I was like, that was really cool.
Well, and I'll put a coda on this. The other part of that, the other reason that happens sometimes is we still do too much inside the camera. We still do too much of a lot of our fight stuff in CG, and again, we can make it look a lot better than we could in like Spider-Man 2, where it's like, okay, those are it looks as good as it can right now, but like these guys are falling from a building, and I don't know how else you would shoot this, but they clearly are pre-rendered things. It does sort of look like a video game. We can make it look less like a video game now, but I think that still is sometimes, you know, taking away the wow factor where you're like, well, I can tell how it was done, and I know it's not people.
Yeah. Well, like Spider-Man should be like 60% a fucking gymnast, right? Like there's scenes in the Hellboy movies, specifically the first one. I mean, both of them really, but specifically the first one. Some of the stuff Kronos does. There's like a point where he like scales down a wall, and he scales down like face first, and then he kicks back and like goes onto his feet. Well, they did that in one take with a gymnast.
Yeah.
Spider-Man should be a gymnast, where like you should get someone that can actually kind of like leap around and move the way Spider-Man should be able to move. I don't care. It's not fucking Tom Holland. It's not Tom Holland anyways. It's a computer. I feel like some of that artistry
look like a person.
Yeah, you get some Cirque du Soleil people to do Spider-Man, right?
Yeah, importantly, it doesn't have to always be the person, but like the actual actor. But I want to feel like I'm seeing a performance.
Yeah. I feel like CGI's
ruined a lot of things you can't do in front of the camera. I get that.
Where like it just, I don't know. I hate that I no longer go like, oh, how'd they do that?
Yeah.
I really miss that.
This is the reason, and I will stand by this till the day I die, I cannot stand Now You See Me. It's the reason I cannot deal with that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're making a movie about, like, I don't care if the tricks are impossible tricks to do. You either make it look like it's really happening, or you do an actual trick that's really happening, but you don't do that shit in CG. Because when I'm like I don't care that I'm not actually there at the stage show. I'm in my mind arguing with people I have argued with before about this because I do not understand the other side of this argument. I'm sorry, I don't understand it. I just don't get it. I should have a wow factor when I'm watching a movie about fucking magic tricks, okay? Like when it's on a stage, I should be like, oh man, how they do that? And like I have to suspend my disbelief so far to go, if I were in the... I'm just on a soapbox now. If I were in the audience in this movie watching this magic trick, I have to imagine I'm not seeing CGI. I cannot make that leap with you. I can't do it.
Let's get controversial.
We would never have done that before the age of CGI.
No, well, I mean, there's a little bit of that in The Illusionist, but the whole point of that is that he's doing a trick that should not be possible. Like it legitimately seems like magic people. He makes like a ball of light or something. Like I don't remember exactly what it is, but like they do that, and that's I didn't mind it there.
But these were actually tricks, if memory serves. Like I kept expecting it to turn out they had superpowers, and when they didn't, I was like, "What the fuck is this?" That might not have anything to do with what you're talking about, but I thought of it, and I decided to run with it. It's after dark.
Sure.
Eric, I don't want to do this. I don't want to talk about it.
You were all jazz last time.
Well, I mean, I do and I don't. Like, I feel like I don't know if I was jazzed. I feel like I need to do...
You were bummed when we got to the end. You're like, I didn't do my big top.
No, I was bummed because I brought it up in the first place,
okay.
And I was afraid that I would disappoint people because it's like, okay, I was going to do a controversial topic, and then I didn't deliver. That's what I was mad about. No, I really hesitate to do this. I expect to maybe lose a couple of patrons over this.
Wow.
But I'm gonna do it because I would love feedback, and I would honestly, especially love feedback from anyone that actually agrees with this notion and can explain it to me. So this is not me doing like backlash against people who think a certain way that I don't think. This is me saying, I didn't grow up like this. This was not an idea I had ever heard of. I don't understand it. It's becoming, I don't want to say like crazy prevalent, but prevalent enough. I mean, like, I know people who feel this way and agree with this, and I don't get it. And this is a good segue too, because it's related to Iron Fist. I need someone to explain cultural appropriation to me.
Sure.
I don't know what it is. I don't understand it. I know what it is. I don't get how we got to it, why it's important to people that it's important to. I don't understand where the line is drawn. I feel like there are so many things that I can do or have done that people who believe in cultural appropriation would like point at me and say that's bad, and I don't understand why it's bad. Like, where do you draw the line on this? Is it like,
well, it's only white people.
Yeah.
Anything any cultures took from other cultures is fine as long as those cultures aren't white. That is what I've learned. Is that it's specifically only colonists. They're the...
So does this not happen?
Like, if Japanese people take things from Chinese people, or Chinese people take things from Japanese people, nothing wrong with that.
But I'm not even talking... I'm talking about on a personal level. I'm not even... Because, yeah, that's right. I'm not just talking about, like... And I don't get that either, because this is how culture works.
Yeah, just across the
world. To some
world.
degree. This is, like, it's how it works. I get being intentionally disrespectful.
Mm-hmm.
I also don't see that a lot. Like, when that okay, I get being disrespectful or being disingenuous. I get a white person pretending like they, like, I get, like, this is difficult for me to talk about, and I'm sure I'm gonna dig my own grave somewhere.
Sure.
I get, like, a white person who grew up in, like, a regular, like, blue-collar neighborhood who pretends like they had the black experience and grew up in, like, the hood or whatever, you know, in the projects, right?
Or acts like they're Japanese, right?
Yeah, and I get that being a problem, but it's a problem because you're lying. It's a problem because you're being disingenuous. I think that's different than this is not me, but different than a person saying, I'm a really big fan of Japanese culture and I'm, like, living according to ideas and ideals that I got from that culture because it speaks to me and I believe in it and I agree with it and I like it. I don't understand what's wrong with that.
Well, and I also don't understand the fashion thing. We're like,
yeah,
we're like, if a girl wears if like a white girl wears a kimono, it's like, well, that's cultural appropriation.
Okay, you remember the Mary Jane dress?
Yeah.
From the first Spider-Man movie? There's a white girl who wore a dress, I think a white girl, a not Asian girl, that wore a dress very similar to that to prom, I think last year or just this last year, that it went viral, it got in huge trouble over it. It was a lot like that dress. Like, you couldn't put that movie out now.
Oh, that's weird.
I don't understand this.
No, I don't.
What is happening to us?
I don't either. I also think...
I just need somebody, like, I say that because it bothers me, it seems wrong to me. I'm open-minded. I need someone, so I want to facilitate this, if we can, through Iron Fist. And let me set up the Iron Fist thing, if I may, okay? So the Iron Fist argument from people who think that that's cultural appropriation and wrong, from the... like, I don't even want to use pejoratives, from what people would call, I guess, the SJW crowd.
Sure.
I'm just trying to set the stage with this.
The extreme left.
The extreme left, sure. I'm not comfortable doing this.
Sure.
The extreme left, these folks feel like the problem with Iron Fist is it should be an Asian person because A, Asian representation. We've got enough white guys as superheroes already. And B, cultural appropriation. He's a white guy who went to Kunlun, which is an Asian place that's that taught him the honorable ways of a particular kind of martial art and all of the and all of the ideals that entails. So even though that's comic book, and it was a white guy who crashed on this island, and it wasn't that he stole their culture, it was that they took him in and taught him things and made him a part of that stuff. It's bad to tell that story because he's a white guy and he shouldn't be allowed to do that. So I have two questions about that. The first thing is, are there now certain stories that we just can't tell? Like, I don't want to create a false equivalency, but, and this is going to sound like an absurd example, but this is the first thing that came to my mind. Can we not tell the human raised by wolf cub story anymore? Can we not do that anymore? Is it like, well, he's culturally appropriating the wolf culture, and if he was, we're like, we put, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm sorry, I just can't think of the right word. So like, we put cultural sensitivity above practicality, where it's like, if he was culturally sensitive, if he really cared about those people, or Mowgli cared about the wolves or the bears or whatever it is, they would just like go out in the wilderness and starve so that they don't fuck up their culture?
Well, specifically with
this
Iron
is what
Fist,
I'm confused about.
Specifically with Iron Fist, well, I guess this
what I'm saying is,
to
what
Mowgli a bit,
what should Iron Fist do?
Well, specifically with Iron Fist, it's not just the cultural appropriation thing, it's also the white savior thing, which I do think is a story you cannot do anymore. It's that a white guy shows up and becomes the best, and then becomes the Iron Fist, and all of that.
Okay.
So that's part of it too.
I hadn't really thought of that.
Now, I think it's kind of racist to be like, well, only Asian people can do martial arts. First of all, like, for the entire 80s and 90s, like, many people of different races were doing martial arts in movies. Like, it's not just Asian people. Like, who's the...
We're inherently saying that story is racist. Like the story itself is inherently racist, so we have to change it.
Yeah. Well, okay, so I remember that. But Steven Seagal,
yeah,
I don't know if you know this, is the only person, as far as I'm aware, the only white person that's allowed to have like a dojo in Japan.
Okay.
Like, he has a dojo in Japan. Like, they respect Steven Seagal for some reason. No one knows why, but for some reason they respect Steven Seagal. But there does seem this weird racist thing of like, well, only they can do that.
Right.
Only the Asians know the martial arts. And all Asian people know martial arts. And that seems weird. And like, I don't know, like... But the thing with Iron Fist is...
But I get why you're making that argument, Eric, but I think that's kind of beside the point, because, again, on the other side, the argument is always going to be, but in this particular example, that's their heritage. That's where it came from in the first place. So, like, maybe in other instances, I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Sure.
Maybe in other instances that would seem like a racist thing to do, but there's an Asian culture that had this martial art, and the white guy took it and became the bad.
Sure. I guess. I also think most people that feel this way...
I mean, I'm not hearing anybody talking shit on Cobra Kai for this.
Yeah.
And that is kind of an anti-PC show in some ways.
Yeah.
Although, what I like about that show is that it plays both sides of it, and I actually can't really tell where it lands.
Yeah.
I really like that. Like its main protagonist is very anti-PC, but he also fucks his life up all the time, so I don't know where the show lands.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really nice. But I'm just saying that that's a show where both of the main martial arts guys are white, and nobody's saying, well, they should have been Asian guys.
I think most of the people that have a problem with this are not actually a part of these cultures. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't Asian people that maybe came out and said,
problem with this. Yeah.
I'd be willing to bet most of those people grew up in America. Because one of the things I do know, at least about Japan, I'm not as well versed in China, Japan loves America. Japan was so excited Scarlett Johansson was going to play the major in Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah.
We all lost our shit. They were like, well, no, of course it's an American movie. Why wouldn't they?
This has been true since the occupation. I mean,
yeah, like they're they also don't actually understand what America's like. Like, their America is very much like Americana.
Oh, it's fascinating.
It's really interesting how they just don't understand other cultures.
When I was studying this in the late 2000s, I don't know what it looks like now, it seemed like Japan was perpetually like 30 years behind us culturally, so they were having like a very like 60s speakeasy, not speakeasy, but like the 60s like Elvis thing. They were really into Elvis right then.
No, it's...
I don't know what it's like now, but...
And, like, but it seems like no one cares about that, right? Like, the fact that people... I'm not saying no Japanese people, but none of the Japanese people in Japan really seem to care that Scarlett Johansson was cast as the Major. They assumed it was going to be a big American star. It was all the people over here that was offended.
I have a hard time, first of all, for at least my own part, not immediately being like, that's really not my business, so, like... You know, if they have, like, I don't have a dog in that fight, and I can't begin to understand it in either way because I'm not them and I don't know how they would feel about it. So, like, do I need to go to bat for another culture, or should I just leave well enough alone? And that's...
Yeah, if they're upset, if Japan comes out and is like, that's not okay, you can't do that, that's different.
Sure.
I don't hear Japan speaking up, I hear a bunch of people look like me speaking up.
Yeah.
And that's strange.
And I question that. I honestly, forgive me, I question the motivations. I don't know why we're doing that. This is just me asking questions. I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't understand how cultural appropriation became such a big thing as fast as it did. It makes me paranoid, and and maybe some people will be like, well, yeah. You're a white male. That means that if you're paranoid about it, that means you're doing something wrong. That means you must be racist. I don't think I'm racist. I don't think I'm doing anything wrong. My thing is, there are a lot of things from a lot of other cultures that I really like and I'm interested in and like to partake in, and I don't want to be told I can't. And I'm honestly, seriously, not understanding where the line is. At what point can I not go to a Japanese restaurant? When does that happen? That's what I'm not getting.
Or can you not cook, stir fry?
Yeah. Yeah, is that bad because I'm stealing from somebody else's culture? Like, I don't understand what they went through to get to stir fry, so I can't cook it?
Well,
like,
and that did happen. There were two white girls that opened a Mexican cuisine food cart that got shut down.
Because they were
white.
Mexican. Yeah. That, I don't get it.
I don't either. I mean, like, there are things that where I'm like, well, yes, obviously.
Sure.
The fucking Dr. No, the Breakfast at Tiffany's, where, like, we wouldn't cast Asian people, we just cast white people and, like, stretch their eyes. I get that. That's a line. That's a very clear line, right? Like, I get that.
But that's not the same thing as, like, partaking in or enjoying somebody else's culture, which I feel like is starting to become a no-no.
And it's also weird because of how big anime is. No one's like, well, you can't. You can't like anime.
I guess the main thing I'm asking is there a consistency here I'm missing? Because it seems very arbitrary to me.
I mean,
everything I hear about, it's like, this is okay, but this is not. And I'm like, but those seem like,
with all this
I don't know where the
stuff,
line is.
I don't know who the rule makers are, and I don't know what the rules are.
But the problem I have is people aren't giving any. Okay, so again, I'm gonna get in trouble with this. A lot of people I'm hearing that harp on these things don't give anybody the benefit of the doubt. They immediately assume that if you are doing what they deem as cultural appropriation or racist, and cultural appropriation, I guess, is by definition to them supposed to be racist, that you must be intentionally doing it, and that your heart's in the wrong place. And I think very often that's not fair, especially because the rules seem to be arbitrary. And these people seem to, in their mind, already know what the standards are, but they don't all have the same standards. And they're telling me what the standards are supposed to be. Or they're not even telling me what the standards are.
They're just telling you that you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, and somehow I was supposed to have already come to this on my own at the same time as they did. Again, I'm expecting to get in trouble for this video, but this is the place where we talk about these things.
Sure.
And I'm simply venting frustration and asking for clarification, because if there is something to this and I'm not understanding it, I mean, I'm happy to look into it and see if maybe I get the other side. But it strikes me as really entitled, and and kind of like I think there's more important things to talk about. I don't know, like,
and again, it feels like it's from a bunch of people that look like you and I coming out and saying, "Well, I speak for them. I know what they're thinking." I do,
which seems disingenuous to the cause, right?
I do wonder, align with like older things of like I've also heard people say like it's racist, like if a commercial or a film plays like turning Japanese or kung fu fighting, or like somehow just using, I mean, turning Japanese is a little racist, but like they're just using those songs is like, wow, like that's.
I mean, I'll go this far. I think the racist is a loaded term, and I think it's like so many things. Like so many things should be taken on a case by case basis, and I think that it's it's usually kind of a pretty lofty thing to accuse someone of being. You know what I mean? Like you can be. I think racial insensitivity is different than being racist.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah,
but I think we just go to that term too quickly. And it's so loaded that when a person does something that someone else deems racist, they also tend to, tell me if you think I'm wrong about this, they tend to immediately read intent into it. Ergo, I say, we're not giving people the benefit of the doubt. So how about if a person does something that you think is racially insensitive, you take them aside and say, hey, I think that's insensitive, maybe you shouldn't say that, rather than immediately wagging your finger at them and saying, you're a racist.
But remember, these are the same people that will read whatever they want into in anything. These are the people that saw a picture of Black Panther like this, and was like, well, this is clearly a reference to the radical social rights activist who's sitting like this, holding two completely different poses, two completely different chairs.
Well, and then
but the same people, right? Where you're just reading into things. You're just like, well, I want to say this, so that I'm going to say it says that. I don't want it to say this, I think it's saying that.
Remember the X-Men Apocalypse poster?
Well, that one was ridiculous.
With Apocalypse, holding Mystique by the throat. Oh, this is advocating violence against women. She's like a major protagonist of the movie, and she's in peril. That's what we do to protagonists. You're supposed to put them in danger. We're selling the movie on, look, how's she going to get out of it? How's that advocating violence against women? Maybe she's a really strong woman that's going to get out of that and save herself. Like, am I sexist for having a problem with that poster? Or for not having a problem with that poster? I don't think I am. Furthermore, again, I think it's disingenuous to the cause because that seems like a strong woman to me. Maybe not just looking at that image, but like if you've watched those movies, you know that character. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I didn't like that Fox took it lying down.
I mean, the same thing happened with DC with the Joker poster with Batgirl.
Yeah, that really bothered me.
Yep. Where it's like, oh yeah, we did all these covers where all of these male heroes are like being attacked by the Joker. There was one with a girl. That's not okay. That's showing that she's not strong enough to stand up for herself. Like, what the fuck? I don't get it.
It seems kind of backwards to me where, again, you're right, very often it's not the people that we're talking about that are coming in and being offended. And so while we're saying, with your example, oh look, that woman is not strong enough to defend herself, you're also saying that women need you to defend them, which seems to be contrary to your position. That's what it looks like to me. I'm just calling it like I see it.
Yeah.
So, I'm ready for the angry comments.
Sure.
But I'm also open-minded and willing to have this explained to me. I just don't get it. I'm very confused by the very notion.
Well, it's also a thing where like, I don't think I don't think a lot of it actually cares about details. I've seen a video of like a white guy getting berated for having dreadlocks, and he's like, well, that starts in Egypt. And they're like, yeah, but there was a lot of black people in Egypt, so cultural appropriation.
Yeah, where then it comes from like cultural ignorance. But they're not going to back down on it because they put like a line of the sand or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't get it.
But no, you're right. It doesn't. It's just what it looks like to me. Is that, like you say, it doesn't look like we're interested in the details. We're not looking at it critically. And I have a really hard time with that.
And it's all blanket statements. It's all generalizations. And there do not seem to be fine details with things like this to me. It always seems to be like broad, sweeping,
And even
and you don't know if you've done anything wrong until you did something wrong.
And even if I were to be persuaded that this is a legitimate argument, that there's actually something here and a side that makes sense. I may not agree with it ultimately, but like I get how you arrived there.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the people that I'm seeing, and I'm not talking about any particular examples, but just day-to-day Twitter, Facebook, whatever, people I've talked to personally, I don't mean to go to just anecdotal evidence. Like I'm not looking at polls right now and saying like this number of people, like maybe the percentage of people who really agree with this cultural appropriation idea is small, but it's an outspoken majority.
Well, and the internet's made everything all flat where you can't really tell what's a minority and majority.
Yeah, exactly. So it looks more prevalent to me than it did 5 years ago, and 10 years ago I didn't even know about this. This wasn't a thing in my world. Maybe I'm ignorant. I mean, maybe I just didn't see it, but like it wasn't even a thing in my radar. But even if I were to be persuaded that it's a legitimate position, most of the people that I've seen calling people out on it have been unnecessarily judgmental. Where I'm like, I don't feel like the methodology, like the way they go about it, is how you solve problems. Like why can't we be level-headed about it? And then my fear is, and again, going to get in trouble for this probably. My fear is it's not a level-headed position in the first place, and so that's why people aren't handling it, the way I wish they would.
Yeah.
Where sometimes it just seems like some people seem to kind of write people off and dismiss them, almost like they just don't even count anymore when they don't have their opinions. And I'm like, I don't know why we can't have conversations. That's all. Like that's how we solve problems. But some people don't seem interested in finding common ground. I'm not saying that everybody that agrees with this cultural appropriation thing is not interested in finding a common ground. I'm saying that I've run into more of them that aren't. That's all. Because again, if there's anybody watching that really has that thinks they can persuade me has a good argument, this is why cultural appropriation is a bad thing, and what exactly the line even should be, and what exactly it is, I'm willing to listen to you. So I'm not trying to put everybody in a box, but I don't get it.
Sure.
Anyway, that's my whole thing.
Sure.
So anyway. Eric, how about you give us one more topic, buddy?
All right.
Well, this Geekvolution thing was really fun while it lasted. I enjoyed it immensely. It was a good 9 years. I was kind of hoping we would get to the anniversary, Eric. I really was. But, you can't win them all.
How long do we have to be away from a trope before it stops being a trope and we can use it again?
It's a really good question. Yeah. You know what? I think we've had...
I want a definitive answer in years, maybe even months.
Yeah, can I give you an example?
Sure.
I think we are raising an entire generation of kids that will have heard of the trope damsel in distress that has never dealt with it.
You might be right.
Maybe not never, but rarely. Like, that's such a cliche now, we can't even have it anymore.
If a girl is in peril, it's a damsel in distress.
Yeah.
And your movie will get
or if she's in peril and a man comes in to save her. Which seems to be just like a big, giant blanket no-no now, and maybe this is related to the last topic, but I don't think it's inherently sexist to have a man save a woman. I think it's inherently sexist if, or at least, like, not progressive, maybe sexist going. I just think those words are sometimes too strong for what we're talking about. Sometimes, not always, there are racist people and sexist people. I'm not saying that.
All you're saying right now was super sexist.
Yeah. Obviously, most certainly.
Not all of Sam Raimi's films, just the Spider-Man ones. Super sexist.
Yeah, or at the very least, made me hate a woman that didn't need to make me hate.
And who kept getting in peril.
Yeah.
Even when it didn't make sense.
Every movie. Sometimes twice. I think sometimes, maybe not.
She might be killed twice in Spider-Man 2.
Well, we also did it with Aunt May there, but
that
was more progressive because she hit him over the head with an umbrella.
And he has to save Gwen Stacy so she can disappear from the movie and then save Mary Jane.
Right. Yeah, we had to do that whole thing.
Yeah.
Yes, of course. But anyway, I feel like it's like if I'm a guy and my girlfriend has a gun to her head, I'm not gonna be like, nah, she's all right. She can take care of herself. No, I'm gonna do what I can, but it's not because I think I'm a strong man, it's because I care about her. Like, I would maybe do the same for Eric.
Sure. The will to act.
Right.
But,
it was your father's.
But, yeah.
I'm sorry, I
Could that
hijacked
scene
your
even,
topic.
could we even get away with that scene now? Where it's like, well, his mom could have saved them too. Why is Ra's al Ghul talking about that? Why is it all as bad as Dad? But no, there's a lot of things, we're in a weird place right now with bullet time, where, like, it's cliche to use, and we still use it occasionally. People are like, you're using bullet time. I'm like, but it's not like we do it all the time. Also, I think we just associate bullet time and slow motion now, and those are not always the same things. But I feel like slow motion at this point, in some ways, you can't get away with.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate because there are obviously times where it's kind of necessary, where you just need to slow things down so I can see what the hell is going on. So, in case you're not familiar, the difference between bullet time and slow motion is for the audience's benefit solely. And the person in the slow motion does not realize they're in slow motion because from their perspective, they're not. Time is moving normally. And bullet time is when someone is moving really fast like a superpower, but they're experiencing time slower, and you're actually getting in their head and seeing it happen. That's what bullet time is. I think, obviously The Matrix popularized that, and then whenever anybody would use it, especially if we circled around them while they were in bullet time, that became a big trope. But Smallville didn't help. Because it did bullet time like once or twice or 3 times an episode.
Well, slow motion isn't just for action. You can use slow motion for dramatic.
Absolutely, you can.
There's a great shot.
I'm just saying that even when you do it in a dramatic scene, it's not like the person that's experiencing it knows they're in slow motion.
There's an amazing use of slow motion in Terminator 2. Sarah Connor rounds a corner and she sees John there with the Terminator, and she like slips and is trying to get away, and it's in slow motion. It's wonderful. It works so well. But no, there's a lot of things where I'm like, and I've had this for years. When can we tell a normal vampire movie again? Because we haven't had one in about 2 decades.
We got to constantly
maybe
turn on
3.
its head, and at that point, the new things become the trope.
Yeah, we are getting to this weird place now where subverting expectations is the expectation.
That's absolutely
or
right.
Turning things on its head. It's like, well, yeah, I've seen it turn on its head like 4 million times now. Like, why don't you just leave it upright once?
To the point where I'm having a hard time coming up with anything but the most obvious classic example of the original idea, of the original trope. Are fast-moving zombies still a no-no? Can we not do that anymore?
I don't know. I don't know if they were ever really a no-no. Because I've seen 20 Days Later did it, and like I think some people rejected fast zombies just like that's not zombies.
That's what I'm saying.
But I don't know if it became like a trope where it's like, well, don't do.
When was the last time you saw one?
They're fast in World War Z. I mean, that movie sucks, but
that was a long time ago now.
That was like 20.
World War Z was 2011. It's 20. It's earlier.
That sequel's coming.
It's 12. Ooh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, it is. That movie made.
I wouldn't make a sequel.
Mad ducats of money.
Yeah, and it's awful.
It is. And people love it. That's what bothers me. People love it.
I don't get it. Like, Brandon and I were laughing in the theater. Like, there are unintentionally funny things in that movie, and
it's such a tragedy.
It's taking itself so seriously, and I'm a big fan of that book. I mean, not a big fan, but I like it a lot. The format is just not there. It's not the same thing. I mean, like, what is World War Z?
It has the title.
Yeah, what is it?
Yeah.
Without, with...
World War Z is obviously a vignette film.
Yeah, it's a vignette. Like I was going to say, what is it without the oral history? It's just a bunch of... It's
a zombie movie where zombies climbing each other to
honestly,
the walls.
I've not seen a bunch of zombie things, but of the things I've seen, it's the most generic.
Yeah, it's not good.
And I'm not a big fan of 30 Days at Night, but I'd rather watch that. It's got at least some style.
That's vampires.
I know that, but I equate them a little bit because I don't. I know there's a lot of folks that like 30 Days a Night too, but like, and I know that's. I just bring that up because it's another horror thing where I'm like, everybody loved this. I don't really get it, but I'd much rather watch that.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of tropes where I'm just like, I don't know.
If you're gonna make another World War Z
I just want a
movie,
timeline.
like remake it. Make it right in the first place.
Yeah.
I also don't think that's the most adaptable material. Like, that's not a
It's a TV
movie, that's a
miniseries, right?
TV miniseries. And I know I say this for a lot of things, but like,
We all do.
it's an anthology show.
Yeah.
It's an anthology show that's all set in the same universe that maybe calls...
Every episode starts with an interview, and they
Yeah.
tell their story. You do, like, 12 episodes, or 18 episodes, and you do
It's like Wild Cards, really.
Yeah, yeah.
And that show is going to get made like that. If it actually is
Is
made,
it?
but...
I assume it'd be like Game of Thrones, where we cut back and forth between everybody.
Oh, maybe it will happen that way. No, you're probably right.
Like Heroes.
I mean, I guess we don't know. They've been pretty tight-lipped about what exactly is in that show.
I can tell you some things that won't be in that show.
Me too.
There will not be a blowjob on a bloody dick.
Nope.
You can
I
get to
wasn't
that.
gonna
That's in book 2. But
you told me all about it. I
it's
wasn't going to say it
great.
out loud, but
I mean,
I know it's
Read
after
Wild
dark
Card's
and
great.
you can.
It's wonderful.
I'm not saying you can't say it. I'm just saying I wasn't gonna. Well, anything else you want to talk about?
no, I'm good.
All right. Well, folks, thanks a lot for watching. It was a lot of fun making this final episode of Geekvolution After Dark for you.
Dark finale.
Uh,
After finale.
We'll see how this goes. We may be back for you.
Lethal finale.
Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. So apparently the lethal weapon.
Lethal Weapon 5 is going to be called Lethal Finale.
Lethal Finale. That is a really bad title.
Even Final Weapon makes more sense. I don't love Final Weapon. It makes more sense.
Lethal Finale. Like, there's other... I mean, I can't think of anything right now, but there's other things with lethal in the title, right? Like...
It's weird. You made 4 of them, though. Like, it's not like it was like
They all
Lethal
have
Weapon,
lethal
Lethal Fist, Lethal...
Lethal potato gun, like...
Lethal Man. I don't know. Lethal Woman.
Lethal Woman. Yeah. Lethal Finale. That's really bad. I can't get my mind around it. Well...
Also, when was the last time Richard Donner directed a movie? Because he's directing. I don't know if you know that. He's directing it.
That's cool.
Yeah, when was the last time he made one?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what that'll be like, but...
Was it Maverick? Was Maverick the last movie he
It's
made?
like riding a
Well,
bike,
no,
though.
Please Let Before comes out after that. So maybe we'll look into it.
But directing's like riding a bike, you know? Like, it might have been 10 years, but he'll get right back on the horse, you know?
Sure.
Anyway, folks, thanks a lot for watching. We sure appreciate it. Looking forward to reading your comments. And in the meantime, I was Captain Logan.
I'm Eric.
See you later, folks.